Oh my gosh.
It's actually, it's happening.
Are you excited?
I'm so pumped. This has been, I gotta tell you, this has kind of been a dream of mine for like a while.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I thought like, personally, I thought like the idea of being an entrepreneur is always scary, right? Because you take on more risk.
100%.
You know, you say, you know, and there's like, I mean, you know what this is like. Like there's so much time at the beginning where you're like, is this even viable? Am I going to be flipping burgers soon? Like, am I going to be, you know, having to give up on my dream?
Crawling back to where you came from.
Tail between your legs.
Saying, didn't work.
It didn't. Hey, remember that time I said screw you?
Remember that time I said, I don't like you anymore and I'm leaving and, you know, just kidding.
I was just kidding. I didn't care about it
April
anymore.
Fools.
And so I thought, and I just was like, I just thought it's kind of a cool idea because, you know, 87% of Canadians don't do that.
Correct.
Only 13% of Canadians are self-employed who choose to go down this path. And I think that we're surrounded by these people, but we never, we don't talk about it, right? But it's scary. Like, there's all the people who are taking these huge risks, who are taking these huge jumps of faith, just hoping things are going to work out.
Yeah.
And you know the stats more than anyone, I'm sure. Like 50% of businesses die within the first year before they're actually up and running. And I just think to myself, that's a story worth telling. And I think that especially in a place like Center Wellington, you know, is
a lot of the things too is that people do start up incorrectly. And I don't think people understand, like, for example, yes, you need your website set up, but they buy all of these other things that they think they need prior to getting themselves established or set up or take over whatever it is they're taking over, and they spend all of that capital that they potentially had originally on things that they didn't need. Yeah. And then that's part of the reason why they tank as well.
Really?
Right?
Eh?
Yeah.
Well, you must probably, because you're a B2B, like you're business to business, right? So you probably are seeing a lot of businesses who are at totally different stages of their own journey. Wow.
Yeah. 100%.
But hold on, we're not talking about those guys though. We're talking about you.
Me.
We're talking about you.
Me.
So I already know a bit of your story because we've worked together for a good while now. But
Yes.
I'm going to ask you questions for the sake of
No, go ahead. Yes.
that I probably already know a piece of the answer to.
Sure.
But I don't think we've ever sat down before and just have been able to just talk about.
No, about my story?
Yeah, exactly, your story. So let's rewind time.
Okay.
Let's go back to before you started Correct Fire.
Correct Compliance.
Or Correct Compliance. Any of those.
Yep.
And what was your life like?
I worked full time. I worked. That was it. You know, just regular, everyday individual. I worked for a large corporation doing training. My aunt and uncle had the security business, and I went and did odd jobs with them whenever they needed assistance. And when was it? August, September of 2019 is when the company I was with said that they were just killing my department, and they were letting everybody go.
You and your department.
Yeah, me and the department. So when I started there, I started as a contract trainer.
Yeah.
And I was there for 8 years. And within that 8 years, I went from contract to full-time to manager. And I managed the training department. And then they decided that they were going to downsize and they were going to recalibrate how the training was done. They were bought out by a U.S. company. They wanted to do it U.S. way, even though Canada has their own rules and regulations and standards and et cetera. They just didn't agree with myself or my manager, and they got rid of everybody in the department. And Shaylin was part of that. Shaylin worked there as well as the admin person.
Oh, great. Did they not offer, because like you'd think that a company that they offered, like they kept on giving you raises and growing your career there, you'd think that they were investing in you. Obviously this was under the old ownership.
Yes.
Did the new company, when they looked at you, sort of like offer another like adjacent job or anything? Just
no. So my manager,
just the door.
Yeah, just the door. I was offered just the door, but I was asked to stay on until all the training that was booked had been completed.
Oh, and then
I was told to, can you please? There's the parking lot. Bye bye now. So that was in the October of 2019 that they let me go. And in November of 2019, I started Correct Compliance.
No way.
I just kept going. I just kept doing what I was doing, and I went back to all of my customers and said, this is the situation, and I'm giving you guys the option. If you want to continue with them, obviously continue with them. If you want to work with me,
and you're the one that
as
sort
a
of
small
invested
organization,
all those,
as the person who's done the training, has the knowledge and the skill set, and et cetera, et cetera. And a good portion of the customers did stay with me, and I've gained new ones in the process, and obviously built the business from there, right? So
leading up to the October, was there like the inklings in your mind, like I could do this on my own?
No.
Really? So
Never.
Never. You weren't like sitting around thinking like, oh, I could do this on my own.
No.
This could be my thing.
No, sometimes you need that forced kick in the butt to get you out the door to go and do the things that you maybe were meant to be doing, right?
That's so interesting.
I never really ever thought about I should be my own boss and I should run my own business.
That's crazy.
And I should do this and I should do that. It never occurred to me. I made really good money. Life
was great.
Life was great.
We were rolling.
Everything was fantastic.
Man.
But at the same time, so just to rewind a little bit, just to throw more chaos into the mix, the January of 2019, Mike and I bought Correct Fire.
Right.
Correct Fire and Security from my aunt and uncle because they retired. So we took that over.
In the January
1st, it became ours.
Of 2019.
Right? So we had already done the preliminary, lawyer visits and, payouts and this and that,
Become
whatever
the
else,
owners,
and become
right.
the owners. So January 1st of 2019, we became the owners. Both of us worked full-time jobs. Plus, we were running a service business.
Yes.
And doing service calls at night.
So was there like any point where you were like along the journey and you had to drop something? Or did you just decide to juggle a million balls?
We just juggled everything.
What was that like?
It was insane. So Mike worked full-time, I worked full-time. I was still running the Ball Association, and we were doing the taking over of the business, plus learning the business, right? Learning, because I'm one of those jump 2 feet first and ask questions later.
Yeah.
And Mike is very reluctant and a little hesitant, and he's kind of more concerned when it comes to those quick snap judgments and calls. And I was just like, no, let's do it. Let's just grab the bull by the horns and let's go.
As one person who I can relate to the whole, let's just try, let's just shoot our shot, and then we'll kind of pick up the pieces afterwards. But I know that when you do something new and you put yourself in a new situation, maybe a task or a responsibility or whatever it is that might take very little brain power down the road. It takes a lot in the beginning because you're just learning you're learning the ins and outs, and now it's like second nature for you.
And now you're learning also not the ins and outs of the actual business, but you're also learning how to be an entrepreneur, right? You have as my dad used to say, the chief bottle washer, right? You're the person that's doing absolutely everything. You are the accountant, you're the salesperson, you're the health and safety person, you're this, you're that, you're the service tech. Like, I was going out on jobs with Mike and I was wiring security systems and I was putting in cameras with him and I was doing because him and I were the techs.
You're the techs now.
That was it, we were the techs. So that was January. Then come August, my full-time job was on the rocks. Come October, I'd lost my full-time job, which was a blessing in disguise because now I was able to go out during the day and do minor service calls and answer the phone and everything. But we were running the business out of our home in Fergus, and we outgrew it quite quickly, and that's when we decided to take on the location in Elora that we moved to, and now we've outgrown that substantially, and we've moved back into Fergus into an even larger building with a big shop in the back, and gives us the opportunity to be able to do other things. Plus, Correct Compliance now will have their own storefront and their own training facility, and it's just, but it's
Do you ever look
scary.
back? Because I think you said 2019, so that's like 7 years ago. 7 years ago. Do you ever look back and you think, oh man, like 2019, October 2019, Robin had no idea what was
No
ahead.
idea. Oh, I had no idea. And I mean, there's been some tough times where I paid Mike and I didn't get a paycheck because we had to, pay the loan on the business, and we had to do this and we had to do that, and we were waiting for customers. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you understand, you have to wait for the customer to pay you in order for you to have the pay.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's all well and good to buy a business and be your own boss.
But then when the money's not coming, that's actually,
Right?
It's funny. So it's like, as you know, we've recently taken on a few staff members.
That's right.
And regardless if the client is late on their payment or not late on their payment, your staff are still there
That's
with their
correct.
hands out.
That's
and
correct.
you're sort of like, well, I have to pay you. No, so I totally get that.
And luckily for us, it was just him and I.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't have to worry about it was you I had to pay a paycheck to, or, somebody else that was in my office that I actually had to give a paycheck to. So there were lots of times where even with both of the businesses running side by side, Mike got paid and I didn't, just so that we could make our mortgage payment and we could, do whatever, because there were some pretty deep valleys that we hit, because you're buying product or you're buying printed materials so that you can go out to customers and you can do all those types of jobs. So I mean, being an entrepreneur, it's not the fun sunshine all the time butterflies.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes
it is. Sometimes there's, what this is like?
Sometimes it is, yeah. But I always would like to warn people that, so I mean, maybe you get this, maybe you don't. I get people all the time, oh, well, it must be nice. You run your own business. You can come and go as you please, and you can, get up whenever you want and go to work. And I'm like, I work when I'm on holidays. I work on weekends. Sunday, for example, one of our customers got broken into, and we were on the phone and we were trying to help them with stuff through the security side. So as an entrepreneur, yeah, it's great that you are the boss.
You are, yeah.
But you're the boss, right? I mean, there's two sides to that coin.
That's true. That's a good way of putting it.
Right? You're the boss. It's great. You can go, guess what? I am going to go and have a spa day.
Yeah.
That's great. But then you're, doing this and you're on your phone and you're answering emails, or you're, like last night I was answering emails and I was rescheduling training for today because I didn't really know what the weather was going to be like, and I didn't want my contract trainer to be out on a road that was going to be really, really bad for him, because he had to drive quite far. So you might be an entrepreneur, but be prepared for what that is, right?
I would say, in my experience, I found that there's a few, I would say my family has a handful of we're all a pretty go make your own way kind of type. So I don't think I hear a ton of that. But what I will say is that I do relish on those days, because it's they're so you're right. In my experience, you're doing emails, or you're on the phone and it's 10 o'clock at night, or it's early in the morning and you're getting back to clients, or it's the middle of the day and you are just you realize you haven't had breakfast and you haven't had lunch, and you've been just doing nothing but doing meetings and doing prep and putting together proposals, and it's just the whole thing. But I find that also there are Mondays that roll around where I sort of open my calendar for the day, and I'm not a great planner, so I'm very much I open up and I'm what am I doing today? I don't sit there and say what's the whole week look like, and I'm I have one meeting in the afternoon, and I got to prep for this thing that's not till Wednesday, and I can do that Tuesday, and I sort of say I'm going to take this Monday. So I find there are days like that.
There are days like that, sure, but I find that there are less days like that.
Oh yes, there are. There's not. I'm not saying there's a lot of those days, but I'm saying that I do I don't know. So okay, so here's a question I wanted to ask you. When you look, so now you have a good idea. You've been an entrepreneur. You've been your own boss for 7 years now. Exactly, right? Because it's January of 2026, right?
Yep.
Was there a time where you sort of said this is viable, this is going to work? Or was it sort of not sure for a long time?
I never had a doubt.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
No, I never doubted myself that I could make this work and I could make it be a viable career. I never had a doubt in my mind. Even with both businesses,
Really?
never had a doubt in my mind. No, it was going to work. Come hell or high water.
You're crazy. I feel like most entrepreneurs I talk to, like there's this like embedded deep fear that it's not going to work out. you're like, no, it's going to work.
So here, I'll give you the yin and yang.
Yeah, tell me.
The yin and yang between my husband and I is that he
doesn't think it's going to work.
He's a tradesman. Okay, and will be 100 feet in the air and be working and doing whatever and not be afraid, whereas that would scare the pants off of me. And I'm the opposite when it comes to business. Right? So when we decided to move out of the house and rent the location in Elora, he was petrified.
Yeah.
He thought that it was going to force us to fail, and now we had overhead and we had rent and we had hydro and we had this and blah blah blah, and plus at that time we had Shaylin. February 1st now. February 1st is her 5-year anniversary working with us.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you have something planned for her?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll have to put that on my calendar.
All right, that'll go on the calendar.
Yeah, that'll go on my calendar. And I never had a fear. I just said to him, we won't know unless we do it.
Yeah.
Right? So it never, ever, until you asked, never crossed my mind.
I'm sorry to...
that it might not be viable.
And
then when we moved from that location to this location, we literally doubled our expenses.
Yes.
And you've seen it. I mean, it is a very large office that we now have the ability to split for the two businesses. And it is just, I was over the moon. I couldn't wait to sign the lease. Like, I was just so excited.
There's no fear. Not a drop of fear.
No,
just
not when it comes
forward,
to
right?
not when it comes to that. Put me 100 feet in the air and
then you're terrified.
I'll poop my pants and cry like a little girl. But there's my fear right there.
It's true though. I do find like what's interesting? I find like a lot of entrepreneurs, they're so intertwined with their partner because that's the person who really sees it all, right? There's no one else who sees everything that you do,
right?
Other than the person you live with, right? And I find for Lauren, she's also very much like, in some ways, I'd say like for us, her anxiety is usually around like workload. Like I get to, I'm the pretty face of the company. You know what I mean?
Pretty face of the
I'm the pretty face. I knock on the doors. Well, she was, it was actually her idea. I never even thought about starting a business. It was her who was like, we were both working for I think I've shared this with you before, but we were both working for our old employer at the time. And she sort of said, hey, you are the best account manager. I'm the best writer. Why are we doing this for someone else when we can do it for ourselves? And I was like, I guess you're right. We could do that. And then you were the first, one of the first companies we knocked on the door and sort of walked our way in there. And your giant dogs started barking.
My giant dogs,
our dogs started barking at me. And I thought, don't leave, power through. But
that's right.
But like, I think that for me, once I do the work and I do the sale and I move it along, almost the entire workload shifts to her. And then now I'm back to like doing sales again, right? Doing sales or connecting with clients and stuff like that. And I find like for her, that's her anxiety. She's like, oh, like, don't bring on too much. How do we make sure that we're not like, I'm not doing too much work?
Right.
Whereas I'm sort of just like, I don't know, so it's so interesting to me that you say you were never afraid. There was never a moment of fear. There was never a moment, that's crazy because I live in fear. I'm afraid all the time. You're not like, because I remember people used to say like, oh, when you have no boss when you're your own boss. You have no boss, right? And I sort of felt like, and that's kind of true, but I also kind of feel like now all my clients are my bosses.
That's absolutely true.
100%. And now I'm trying to juggle, trying to please, right? Because it's like, so even like my week ahead, I'm like, okay, well, I've got a client meeting today. I've got a client meeting Tuesday. I've got a client meeting Wednesday. I got to make sure we do this project in the Monday morning. I got the same thing tomorrow morning. And I've got a proposal. I got a client I got to follow. So I'm like, those are all my bosses. And I'm juggling all these bosses in the air. But that doesn't, for me, I'm like, oh, like I'm going to eventually, the fear's there that I'm going to let them down or something. But you never.
There was never a fear that crossed my mind that this wasn't going to be my career. This wasn't going to be viable. I never ever thought of it. Never. It never crossed my mind. We just made it work. Now, granted, when we took over the security business, it was established, right? It already had customers. Yeah. We had to do some tweaking. We did rebranding. Yeah. We grew the business in a different direction. Instead of outsourcing some jobs, we actually took the training ourselves and became the inspector. So fire extinguisher inspection. We started doing all of that kind of stuff on our own instead of outsourcing it, right? And then for the training side, the customers again, like I said, I was very open and honest with them, and I gave them the opportunity. And I guess behind closed doors, fingers crossed that those people came to me. But I don't think I had that fear because I had the security company.
Okay.
And I also had
which was established.
It was established,
Okay.
even though we had just taken it all over 10 months prior. I had that, plus I could go get a full-time job if I needed to. I could become I could go back to, so I never really had that, oh my gosh, is this going to work?
But
Am I going to fail?
did you see going back to a full-time job as like a failure? Like if that, let's say it did get to that point.
No.
Let's say like, really?
No.
You wouldn't have been like,
No,
oh,
because
like,
if you don't try, you don't know. So I wouldn't say that it was a failure. You tried and it didn't work, so pivot, go in a different direction, become a manager, or
you're
become
optimistic.
So, yeah, I try to be optimistic.
Yeah, no, I love that. Was there, as a business owner, everyone has a skill set, right? There's
Yep.
some things that you're really, really good at, and then probably some things you can look at and be like, I couldn't do this at all. I would suck at this. What is your greatest strength? You're the one that sort of leads the company. You're the one who's making their way. What is your greatest strength for this business?
I would probably say customer satisfaction and organization.
I was gonna say customer related, because I find like you're a very good person in terms of just like building a connection.
And again,
with.
because I have worked in the quote unquote service industry.
Yeah.
When you are training, you are the forefront. You are the person that they see. You're the person that they equate to the trainer, like the training, right? When they say, oh yeah, so-and-so did our training. Oh, did you have that person? Was this person your trainer? That kind of thing. So you were I'm always dealing with people, and as frustrating as it can be at times, no different than talking to somebody on the phone, you kind of have to put your customer service face on and do your best to accommodate those individuals. Like, oh, how long is this going to take? I got to get my guys out on the floor. Well, sir, we're going to do our best, but we can't force safety. We gotta
Safety first, remember?
That's right. And then after he leaves, the grumbly.
You can let it all out,
right?
I always feel that way when I leave this business in downtown Fergus, just correct compliance. I walk right out, I go, oh, those people are the worst.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I can't believe I got those guys.
I think that your customer satisfaction probably has to be your key.
Yeah.
Because again, if your customers aren't happy, you're not going to have those customers.
It's true.
Right?
True, yeah.
And it doesn't matter what industry you're working in, and it doesn't matter when you hang that phone up and you curse at the wall or do whatever it is you do. When you pick up that phone or you look at that person, you need to do your absolute best to be as personable,
regardless of what's going on in your personal life.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's tough. It can be very tough. And then the flip side, or the other side of that, is trying to be as organized as possible, because you yourself know that if you do get busy, things will slip through the cracks, and that's where staff come in, right? And then when you get to the point where you are so busy that you need to start hiring, and then your little tiny pocket of entrepreneurism grows into, wow, I'm a small company now, and then it gets bigger and bigger and hopefully bigger and successful. Right?
Yes, that's the goal.
That is the
that's
goal.
the goal.
The goal is to be able to have more of those spa days.
Yes, those spa days.
That's
I'm hoping
right.
for more of those.
That's right.
I find like sometimes I will imagine like what would my ideal day look like if the company's at the size that I'm hoping it'll
Correct.
get to. Do you ever have those?
Yes.
Do you sit down? Yeah.
Yes.
Are you close? Is the business close to that size or
no?
No.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying really hard to wean Mike away from the tools so that he can do more quoting and more sales and that kind of stuff, and have somebody else doing, going out and doing those jobs. And the same for me. I would like there to be a trainer that would be able to take my place, because every day that I'm out of the office doing training, it takes me 2 weeks to catch up. Like last week, I was away for 2 days, and it took me. I'm still not caught up. You can't see the top of my desk. And tomorrow morning, I leave, and I'm gone till Friday.
Oh no! That's why this was the only day that worked for you.
That's right. That's right. Because I'm actually away. I'm in London, doing training for 4 days straight. And I'm staying there because I'm not driving back and forth.
No, of course not.
4 hours a day of driving.
Do you not feel like it's a double-edged sword? Because like when it starts and it begins, it's all under you're sort of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're the quality control, right? So you see how good customer management is. You see how good training is. You see how good the installing the equipment, what that all looks like. And then when you start growing and you do bring someone on and you're like, hey, you do this now. And then, so you're like, yay, like that's great for me, less work to do. But then you see them do something and it's not even worse or better, it's just different than the way you did it, especially customer management where I find like that's such like a thing.
Yep.
Do you ever like not get like a little like
I did.
Yeah?
I did. To be honest with you, when I hired my contract trainer, and Shaylin laughed and joked with me, as you know she does.
Yes, I do know that.
And she just said to me, Mom, you've got to let go of the reins. Like you have to let that. It's like letting a child go to school for the first time, right? You're like, oh no,
come back!
Oh my gosh! And yes, people aren't going to do it. They're not you. Right? People aren't going to market the way you market, but they might still get the same results. People are going to train.
Or even better results. Like they might even do better than I would have done.
They're maybe not going to train the way I train, but I've shown them everything I can show them. I've taught them all the information and the materials that they need, given them the resources to do what they do. Now, if they have little quirks to the way they do it, but the outcome is still the same, it was a little bit of a learning curve for me to be able to relinquish that control. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I find like, at least in my experience, it's like, so I asked you before, like what's the best skill you think you have, or like, and I almost think like eventually our goal is that the business will get so big that you can't do the grunt work anymore.
That's right.
Right now, we're doing grunt work. Correct. You know what I mean? We're out there, we're grunting along, but hopefully one day we're not going to be doing that, or that's the goal, right? And it's like, I find like, I think like entrepreneurs, people who are like driving forward their business, I know what, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like when I talk to people like you and our other clients, I feel like the biggest thing that they have is very much like customer facing, right?
Yes.
Because no matter how good you are at setting up security cameras or how good you are at doing training, like the person's not going to agree to have you do those services unless you can convince them.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's where and I almost find that like, at least I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but it's like, I find like for me, it's like about protecting that key skill.
Yes.
Because I can find someone who can do the actual marketing, technical, work better than me even, but like, I think I'm really good at it, is that like that connection point. Do you find like that as you're looking at your skill set, you're trying to like protect that, like that skill set?
The skill set that I want to protect is that we do it more efficiently, more customer oriented, and better than the other guys, right? And I think that's the way any business of any size wants to run. So let's say correct compliance. I want to make sure that when training is completed, that I go to my contact and make sure that everything is okay and they don't need me for anything else before I leave. I want to make sure that the paperwork is done in a timely fashion. And when Canada Post was on strike, we started using a courier to send their certificates. You told me that, I remember. We signed up through CFIB, and we sent certificates to the customers, and we ate the cost of the courier because I wanted to make sure that my customers got their paperwork in a timely fashion. We also started going to a digital, so we were scanning the copies of their certificates and we were sending them to them, so they had them prior to them getting to them in the courier or the mail, just in case they needed them. So making sure that the customer was actually taken care of.
That's interesting. So you're not even you're not talking about even protecting your personal skill set. You're talking about protecting the company's, like, what is the company's distinguishing factors as opposed to your competitors?
Yes.
How do we make sure we protect those skill sets even as you grow and you move your jobs and you get, that's interesting.
And the security side, we do similar. We make sure that our customers get the attention that they need within a very short time frame, and not to bash any of the big companies out there, but they are so large that they can't get to you. So let's say, for example, you have a phone issue or an internet issue or something like that. What are the chances that somebody's going to get to you within 7 days? Sometimes it's quite difficult, and you have to sit at home from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. waiting, which is great if you run your business from your house.
Yes.
But we don't do that anymore, so one of us would have to stay home. We try to accommodate the customer by saying within you'll have someone on your site within 24 to 48 hours. And that right there makes us stand out from the other people. Now, we still have struggles,
Of course, yeah.
for both sides of the businesses because we're a no-name. We're a no-name.
You're not a no-name,
right?
You got a
Like,
name,
I mean,
but
we're not like a big
Yeah.
organization that, you know, when you say name a phone company, there's going to be phone companies that come to your
Yes,
mind. Name a
that's true.
security business, name a training business. Maybe ours isn't the one that comes to mind because we're not one of the well-known, right? We're not, and I'm not gonna drop names, but we're not one of the well-known
Yeah.
organizations. And so I think that by doing what you can to make those customers repeat customers is what gets you your name.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right.
That's the good stuff that they're going to come back for.
That's what we're all hoping for.
That's what we're hoping for.
So you started this business or you took it over?
I took it over in 2019, and then I
2019.
started my training company in
Yep.
2019.
Yes.
Yes.
So was there, I guess, if there was something that, like, I guess what was one of the biggest lessons you learned, or the biggest lesson you learned when you became your own boss that you didn't expect?
That I can't do everything by myself. I can't do everything by myself, and it was a very hard pill to swallow. And that was one of the reasons why I brought Shaylin on she started in 21.
Yeah.
So from 2019 to February 1st of 21, I did it on my own. So I would go out and train, and then when I came home from work, I would do all the paperwork, all the certificates, all the invoicing, and then I was doing all the accounting, and I just realized that I can't. And plus, trying to juggle also the security business as well. I just couldn't do it on my own. And unfortunately, my husband doesn't help with any of that stuff. He was the tech, right, and still is. Right. So I would say that was probably the hardest lesson. Yeah.
Did it cost you anything? Like, did you end up losing or fumbling something because you were trying to?
Oh gosh, let me tell you, I blew up security systems.
What?
I've done all kinds of. Cost us a couple dollars here and there because I went out to do a job and I wasn't. I'm not the techie. I'm not the techie person, and unfortunately didn't really have a choice, and we had to go, and I made an oopsie. And
What happened?
I wired something incorrectly and I blew up the GSM. It cost us a few $100s.
Were you sweating when it was like all falling apart, or were you?
It was quite comical because Shaylin was with me on the job because I needed an extra.
Okay, so you're paying someone, and you're losing.
Right? Paying a person to be there to help
Just to
me,
laugh at you.
just to go. I don't think that's supposed to be smoking.
That's so funny.
Anyways, but on the security side, yes, we lost a couple bucks here and there because of misquoting or equipment failures, let's say.
It wasn't the equipment that failed, though.
No. But on the training side, I don't think it really faltered too much because I literally picked up where we left off. And the nice part about it is that Shaylin was the admin person, and she stepped back into the role. I mean, she was looking for work and just wasn't able to find anything accommodating. And so I just said to her, like, come and work for me part-time, and she just never left.
So not doing everything by yourself, relinquishing control, big challenge. Do you find like nowadays it's easier to do that, or you still,
No, it's a lot easier now to do it, and I mean, you have to. You can't do it because let's remove your wife from the equation for a minute, okay?
She's gone.
Okay, so like just say that she still works at another organization and you decided you were going to branch out and do this by yourself. Could you do everything that she does and all the stuff you do, and then the invoicing and all of the whatever else? And
well, you know what's interesting is, I don't know what it's like for you. So it's like, I used to sit back and think, to run a good marketing company, to get one up and going, I think you need 4 skills. I sort of thought like, okay, you definitely need someone who's like sales-based, like good at customer relations, that sort of thing. You need like a writer. You need someone who's going to be able to write good copy. Copy is, still one of the most digested forms of media. So you need someone who can write good copy. You probably should have like a designer. You should have someone who's like good at visually, can like put things together, if you're gonna take over someone's social media, if you're gonna take over someone's website, you better make sure you can put it in a way that looks appealing. And I think the last thing you need is like, you need someone who can like be technically minded, right? Who can understand, okay, like code, like they can go in the back end and adjust things. And I sort of thought to myself, between Lauren and I'm like, okay, I've got the sales piece. That's what I'm really good at. I'm not so good at the technical piece, but neither is Lauren. So I'm like, this was an area that we knew was like but I don't think any entrepreneur enters into their field an A+ at all the skill sets they need to do to kind of make it. But it was like, okay, like I got this. Lauren's got the writing. She's got the design. Neither of us really have the technical piece there. But I guess like we sort of felt like, okay, we got like 3.5 because we were not super incompetent when it comes to that. We thought, okay, 3.5 of the 4 skills, we can make it go. So, but if Lauren wasn't there, so to answer your question, like if Lauren wasn't there, we're losing 2 of the 4 skills I feel like we need. And so like it would take me, like Lauren used to laugh at me because we would do one of the simplest tasks we would do for a client is content planning, right? So that's all we did is at the beginning of every month, you would look at the client and you'd look at what keywords are they beginning to trend towards, what's the performance of them, how competitive are those keywords, what do the competitors who are ranking for those keywords currently have for rank, all that sort of stuff. And you would look at all that and then you would create a content plan so that way later on a writer could read the content plan and figure out and put a piece of content together that sort of like accomplishes what you think should happen. And I remember Lauren would like put together a really detailed, well put together content plan, like in like an hour. Like an hour, she would have all the content plan for the whole month, like and I would be there. It'd be like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I had like one piece down. And she was like, "You can't do that. Like you can't." And actually, it's funny. So I actually just had a conversation with my. This is part of my learning curve of like. You can't, like, you have to decide, and I was like, I guess this is my job to tell you this. I'm like, I have to tell you how much time can you put towards this task.
Right.
You can't put you can't do what I did and put 2 hours into a single piece of content.
No.
You can't put, 2 hours into editing or 4 hours, a single video. You can't put 4 hours into doing this or that. You have to decide, this is the amount of time it's going to go into this, and then we're going to move forward. And so, I guess so, yeah. To back up, I could not do it without Lauren because I'm just not good at 2 of the 4 required skills. But you said you were kind of, I guess the technical piece was not maybe your strongest suit, but outside of that.
No, not my strongest suit. I did learn and I could go back out in the field right now if I had to and wire a security panel and, I can put cameras in and I know how to do the ends of an Ethernet cable. I can wire one of those and I can do all that stuff, but that's not my strong suit. My strong suit is people. Yeah. Right? Like I should be the salesperson. I should be the one that's able to go out and say, hey, and this and whatever. And I'm so busy with going away for training and trying to.
So you're pulled away from that.
Yeah.
Was there like a cold sales period of your business where you felt like you were just knocking on doors and?
No.
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 Isn't that nice?
Yes. Isn't that nice?
That must be nice.
Aren't you lucky?
Wow. I definitely.
Yeah. So no, we didn't, but we did try other avenues. Like I bought a bunch of those door hangers.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, they sat in my drawer for probably a year, and so what we did was Shaylin and I sat there one day and we cut off the door hanger
the top
piece,
part. Okay.
And we gave it to the local pizza guy, and he was putting it with every pizza.
How'd you get him to do that?
Because he was the guy right up from where our office was in Elora, and he offered.
No way,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, and he offered to do it, and I was like, yeah, whatever. They're sitting here. I'm not gonna lose anything.
This is in the
right?
middle of the day when you're just hanging out with the pizza guy.
Yeah, we'd go over there to get lunch or whatever, and he said something about if you have a card or any information you have. Do you have any flyers? I can put them with my pizza. Wow. And Shaylin came back and she was like, let's get those door hangers out. So we just started chopping the ends off and we put them with the pizza. Now, I mean, we had no way to gauge
how many clients came
or
from
if any
at all.
Because there was no like code or anything like that. Right. Give us the code and we'll know where, there was nothing like that.
Did you see like any new clients come within that?
No,
but sometimes I guess like it can take time, right? Like you can hand someone this flyer, and it might just sit in their desk drawer for 2 years until eventually something of
That's
theirs
right.
expires.
That's right. Well,
and
a
then
lot
they
of times I find it's word of mouth, right? Even though, and I get it, you're in marketing and advertising, and you do videos and static pictures and that kind of stuff on media, social media. But a lot of times, especially in the security field, it is a word of mouth, right? Oh yeah, these guys are great, and they accommodate and they do this, they do that, whatever, right?
I find that word of mouth is never going to go away.
No,
right?
No.
It's never going to, but I think that, so I remember we would track with clients, where are leads coming from? And they would say, oh, your word of mouth is huge. And I said, that's really good. I almost find a lot of the time socials and the website is almost just strengthening the word of mouth recommendation, because no one wants to recommend a business that has their last post in their social is from 2022 and their website looks like it came right out of the 90s. It almost not only is that going to get leads for you, but it's also going to give the strength to your existing client base.
Correct.
To say oh yeah, these guys are great, go check them out. And then when that new person takes a look at them on their website or on their socials or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, I kind of see what they're going on to. So I do think the word of mouth is always going to stick around. But it's funny you mentioned the pizza thing, because I was thinking there's no shortage, I think, of businesses who are willing to help other small businesses. And it's I found along the way, at least in my experience, there's been guys who've shown up for me who you even think to yourself, I don't even know why you've chosen to, we worked together one time X years ago, but you're just willing to vouch for me and say I think there's almost in Center Wellington and I want to ask you about Center Wellington, but I feel in Center Wellington there's this desire for small businesses to thrive.
Yes, and I think it's because it's still small town vibe. Your downtown core still looks old. It's still that old town, small town vibe, even though Fergus / Alora are growing substantially and will continue to grow substantially. I think people still kind of lean more towards the small town or small business. They want to get away from the large conglomerates, because they're money grubbing, whatever it is you want to call them, and they want to try to support the small people that are doing work in and around the township, I guess. So
well, I think it's really cool here because you're right, it is growing, and I find it's Center Wellington is distinct enough from the Tri-City area, Guelph, the GTA, that people really love it.
Yes.
But it's close enough that a lot of businesses are coming here because they can not only service this area, but they can then service
That's right.
greater. What's your service area? You know what I mean? You're across the land.
We're
and
all over the place.
And so I guess I was wondering, why, for you, why is Center Wellington the best fit for correct fire and security, correct compliance? Why have you found success here?
Honestly, we started the business here because we lived here, right? So
fair reason,
right?
yeah.
So that was one of the main reasons. When we were looking for a new location because Alora was too small, we actually looked into Guelph and other surrounding areas, and we decided not to. We decided to stay here where we are. Now, why do I think correct compliance is thriving in this area? I don't really do a whole lot of training in the Center Wellington area, but there's only one other training company that I know of in the area, and it's needed. We also do health and safety management, right? We don't just do training, we do other things as well, that kind of branches outside of maybe what some other training places do. So
I guess because there's a lot of your clients are sort of on a clock, right? They get a certain training and then it has to be renewed every once in a while. I imagine that just by your longevity, that eventually throughout the years, these clients, this bell's going to ring, they have to get updated, they have to get updated. They meet you, they learn that you can offer so much more than just that one-time training.
That's right.
And then it just kind of grows from there. Because I kind of imagine you've got people who say oh, we like that you're close by. We like that, when they are close.
Yeah, we do have a few customers in Fergus area. I mean, the industrial park is growing, which is fantastic. I mean, we do have a few customers, and we would love to have more, obviously, like any other small business. We would love to have
no new customers customers don't come my way. No, thank you. We like being small. We like being a small business.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I want to, like I said at the beginning, I want to make sure that they get the proper training and what they need, what they deserve, and have that repeat customer, even though it is every 3 years.
Yeah.
But you know, when you have new people come on board, even if it's just a one person training versus a group of people, we'll still accommodate for that. So
Do you think that that industrial area of Fergus, you know, like out by Gart Shore, do you think that they're like interconnected? Like if you do well with one of them, that they'll speak to each other, or do you think they're all their own little separate islands over there?
I would love to think that they would talk to one another.
I would also
I
like
would
that.
hope so.
I hope so.
But I don't know. I have done work for a couple of businesses over in that area.
Yeah.
That's a lie. I have kind of cold called.
Okay, there you
I
go.
sent letters out. I didn't knock on doors. I sent letters out
Like
to
physical letters?
physical letters to the whole industrial area. I drove around and literally wrote down the name of the company and then looked up their addresses and everything afterwards.
Yeah.
And we sent letters out to everybody.
way.
One of them came to me. One of them came to me.
And really a recurring client?
They're a recurring client.
Wow.
Yes.
So you did
Yes.
it actually. So there you go.
Yeah,
You did
so
do
I've
cold
done
sales.
I've done training for them twice now, I believe.
Wow.
But
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I would love that if all of those new industrial places would
Talk to each other?
talk to one another
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, who does your forklift?" But the flip side of that is the mindset of small businesses.
Yeah.
Sometimes don't think that they need the training,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So even though you're a small business,
But don't
you
they
still,
legally need to? Like,
Yes.
and they still feel like they don't need it.
Yes, because I only have one forklift operator, or it's just me that's driving the forklift. And
You have people who, like, that's really prevalent,
Yes.
eh?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
And I guess you could if you wanted. You'd be like, well, I could report you, but
I could. I'm
but
not going to
you're
be
not
like
gonna-
that.
you're not
but
gonna
I'd be on the phone
wouldn't
all
really
day.
make for a great customer
Wouldn't they?
relationship. in the
No,
long
they'd be
term.
like, that place, don't go
yeah,
there.
we hate those people. They
Yeah.
reported us. No, but
But there's a lot of businesses out there, or the owner mindset is I don't have to follow the rules
yeah.
for safety because I'm the owner, right? Yes, you still need steel toe boots, and yes, you still need a safety vest or a hard hat, and yes, you still have to implement this, and you need forklift training, and you need, et cetera, et cetera. You still need all that, but there's a lot of,
Eye rolls
I'm
and
the
like,
boss,
we don't
and,
need
and
this.
I don't need that.
I've been
kind
doing
of
this
stuff.
since I was 16.
Right,
Like,
and-
what do I need? Like a certificate for the. That's interesting. I feel like, well, I will say, that industrial district I think has been a starting point for many businesses in this area because it's just like, like all these places, and it's easy to kind of approach them and
Yep.
knock on the door. Wow. Do you find like any of those people who? I find, at least in my experience, like there'll be clients who are like awesome clients, but like I almost can tell when I first meet them after a little bit of engagement, like, I'm not really going to work with you for a long time. Like you don't. So it's like even these guys who are out there who it's just the boss doing this. Do you find like, you'd still love to take them in, or you're like, you know what, if this is the kind of attitude they have, they're really not going to be a great fit for.
No, not really. I go in, I do the training that is required. I make sure that they have all of the bases covered.
Of course.
And my
yeah.
message at the end of the day is I am just the messenger, right? I'm here to deliver the information you need, update you on standards, tell you as an employer or whatever what your legal requirements are to make sure that your employees are safe. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to listen to me and or come back to me, then that's completely up to you. And it's no real loss.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it's different because I feel there are some legalities around requirements around. Whereas for me, I'm sort of like, hey,
Yeah.
So,
But again, I mean, this is years and years ago.
Of course.
I had a training session where the people were wearing the inappropriate equipment for the warehouse trucks that they were operating. And when I spoke to the supervisor, he told me which way to go and how to get there, and asked me to leave the building as soon as I was done the training. I want you to get out.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't want to hear it and he didn't want to abide by it. So that's why I just say, I'm just the messenger. I'm not.
That's
I'm
scary.
not part of the government branded MLI TSD I'm not part of the ministry. I'm not gonna, call somebody, but I'm just telling you that, these are the ramifications. These are your legal requirements, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the day, if they don't want to follow it, I mean.
Would you say, off the top of your head, the most businesses out there are following the safety rules and regulations to a T?
No.
You say at least half?
I would say probably maybe 60 to 65%.
Really?
Yes, and that's customers that I've been into.
Right.
And we have helped organizations to get to the point where they are actually following the rules and regulations at the end of the day to protect them, right? And that's the mindset where we have to do that 180. It's not, yes, it's protect the employee, but it's also at the end of the day to protect the employer as well, right? And so I have customers that go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
They have no safety whatsoever to you can't, look in the wrong direction without somebody saying, what are you doing, right? Safety vests and hearing protection and all that, to the owner is wearing, I had a customer, now we're going back like probably 10, 12 years ago, who was the owner of the organization and wore flip-flops in the warehouse.
No.
Yeah, because he was the boss. And he could do whatever he wanted.
In the warehouse, with machines and heavy machinery and
skids, nails, heavy boxes, you name it. And I just thought, wow, are those new steel toe flip-flops? Like,
those are the new, I've never
are those
seen
the
these
new
before.
ones? I haven't seen those before.
Oh my gosh.
I've had clients who have had office staff walk out in their high heels or their sandals or whatever, thinking that I'm not a warehouse worker, so I don't have to follow the warehouse rules. When you do. You don't really have a choice.
Wow.
Right? So I mean, I would peg it at probably 65% are actually following the rules the way they're supposed to.
And if that person was out there and they got, like, the worst was to happen, what would be the ramifications? Like,
I mean, the worst case scenario could be a fatality, right? However, if the individual is injured, there's no rules in place. They're not being enforced. The employer is the one that is going to be held completely responsible financially, liability, that kind of thing. I mean, and then that's the thing. We always say that, poop rolls downhill. Well, when we're talking about the legalities of health and safety, it goes up. It goes up a hill real fast.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you have all your stuff the way it's supposed to be done. You have policies in place. You're following all the rules and regulations. You've got the training that is required for the individuals, because you want to make sure that you're protecting them and you're also protecting yourself, right? But yeah, I would say 65% probably are following the rules, and the other 35 are
not.
Yeah.
Wow.
They've got so
They got some rules in place.
Some of it.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
So
one thing, because I have both my cameras, I actually don't know what time it is. I'm like, do you know what time it is?
My phone is over here. I can check
Can you
it
just
quickly.
check? I'm like, I gotta be out of here by 7:30, and I'm like, oh, is it looking like it's gonna?
And you and I can talk.
I know, we could talk forever.
At 7:29.
No, my spidey senses were
your
going off.
Your spidey senses.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's ending up. Okay, so let me ask you, I want to ask everyone at the very end.
Okay.
Looking back now, and I feel like I already know the answer to this one, but looking back now, knowing all the hardships that these last 7 years have brought you, but also all the successes, the wins, the losses, everything else, would you do it again?
Absolutely. In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. And Shaylin and I joke around all the time, buy a business, they said. It'll be great, they said, right? But on the flip side of that joke, the two of us, not Mike, not Mike at all, the two of us are constantly looking for other businesses to venture to.
No, you're not. You're a serial entrepreneur.
A serial entrepreneur.
You can't help yourself.
No, so she, and I've done it to her, so now her and I both do it. And
do you guys want to be a marketing company too?
We're on a
you
website.
Could buy us
I'll buy you. You can be the marketing,
You could own a marketing company.
Great. That's great. So, but yeah, we're always, we're registered on a website, Businesses for Sale.
No,
so it sends us messages all the time about, look at this and look at that. We actually did, Mike and I did go into talks with another security company.
Wow.
And I am looking to buy out security contracts.
Well, I hope that you are able to get there.
Yeah.
So just for my records, could you turn into the camera over here, tell it who you are, what you do, and then we'll be done.
My name is Robin Larkin. I own Correct Compliance Training and Health and Safety Management and Correct Fire and Security, both run out of Fergus.
Awesome. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
doing this. I really appreciate
Thank
this.
you.
I hope you had fun. I
did have fun.
This was good.
Too early, but it was
Okay,
fun.
cool. You're the early bird.
I know,
You
but
came
you know,
early. You got the word.
you could tell people that it was early and it could still be 10 a.m.
Well, the facility unfortunately doesn't rent out to us during public business hours.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So.